Hello everyone, and welcome to the Deeply Renegade podcast. My name is Molly, also known as the Deeply Renegade, and I'd like to welcome you guys to episode 168. Today is Sunday, February 5th, 2017, and I'm glad you could join me today. I'm trying something new. It's sort of crazy. You notice how it's blue? It turns out we're using the white fluorescent bulbs, and this is where the hobbies collide. For which I asked my husband if he could rig together some sort of lighting solution in 5 minutes. And he went to the room next door and he pulled out a, the type of grow light you would use in a freshwater fish tank. So, blue, but maybe it's more true to color, I don't know. Does it look appropriately yellow? I don't know, that looks white. I haven't done extensive testing yet, so it's a mystery, but hopefully it's like slightly better. I don't know, maybe it is. If not, we'll find some different way, or get different color temperature bulbs. I don't know. So, welcome. So I delayed in podcasting today because I wanted to finish this, because I'm probably going to be giving it to its recipient next week. But you guys don't even know about this. So this is my Malabarigo Noob in the Poseidon colorway, which is sort of grays and blues with reds mixed in as well. It's very muted. It's not coming off as red in the ridiculously blue light. And I knit a woolly worm head waffle slouch this week. So something came over me and I needed to cast on for a hat, and I didn't want to do anything until after. So it is very slouchy, but can also be worn as a more normal slouchy hat as well, if you just fold up the brim and just let it slouch a little bit. I don't know. Slouch. So, well-written pattern. I still have a decent amount of yarn left. What to be, but probably not too much to amount to much of anything. I'll try, I'll try weighing it and see how much it has and figure out if I can make anything else with the leftovers. It does have a very nice hand. It was Navajo plied. Glad to have finished something. I knit this on US 6s. Got to break out the double points, at least for part of it, and it's a little bit too warm for it. It was a warm day today, so had there been daylight, I could have recorded outside. But, so, it's sort of bulbous. It hasn't been blocked. They do remind you in the pattern to not stretch out the brim. It is, twisted rope, so it is pretty stretchy. And then it has this cool waffle stitch pattern, which, you like waffles. So, it ends up making a sort of square grid, which is cool. And then the decreases are very well done, so you continue all the way in pattern till the very, very end, which is cool. So, reasonably happy with how this turned out. I can't quite pull off the beret slouchy thing, so now I know. But this is going to be a gift, and it is super nice, so I'm happy it has found its appropriate home. In terms of other knitting, I still need to sit down and do some calculations, which will obviously mean this is put on hold. I have reached the point at which I need to change what I'm doing on the Boo Knits in or Out of Darkness shawl. So it is beads and blue, like a little bit of sparkle. And so I've reached the point where I've reached my number of stitches, and I need to decide if I'm doing a lace transition or if I'm just hopping into the lace pattern. But depending on that, I need to figure out where to go. So I'll need to swap out what tips I'm using, or I may just knit onto the next ones, depending. But I'm done beading for a little bit, so that's helpful. That'll make it go a little bit faster. But what I need to do is sort of sit down, figure out how heavy this guy is, figure out how much yarn I have, which does seem to be a pretty decent chunk of ball, but what have you, and sort of work out ratiometrically where I am. And if I am far, then I will launch into chart D, and if I am, or what is it? So it'd be the case where if I'm looking short, I'll launch into the lace chart. If I'm looking good, then I'll do the transition, and we'll go from there. I suppose it wouldn't be the end of the world if I needed to pick up another skein, because this is totally my blue. So it's this lovely cobalt. So this is Madeline Tosh Merino Light. But I did reach a milestone, so that was exciting. And the beads definitely add a good bit of heft to this guy, so that's cool as well. But I need to sit down and think. I found someone with very, very detailed project notes. So they had used however many yards and had this much extra and weights between each chart, so I will get a better sense of how close or far I am after I figure that out. But I'm sort of at an impasse. I got there today, but I am unsure as to what it be, how much I can fudge it a little bit. With the Fragile Heart shawl, I made the medium size even though I shouldn't have, and just had like a little eensy beansy bit of yarn left over. With this guy, doesn't seem to be as customizable. If that makes any, so it'd be the case, you can do more repeats, but it isn't like it was spec'd out as, small, medium, and large, like the Fragile Heart pattern was, so, you know what I mean? And that's what I get for stocking up and doing a, a finger and weight project with a 100-gram skein of, or a lace weight project with a 100-gram skein of fingering. You never know what you're gonna get. But, oh well, living life dangerous. On the turtle front, somewhere is my missing turtle needle. Maybe it's deep within the couch or something, I'm not sure. But I have reached the appropriate turtle size, but I haven't reached the appropriate turtle height. So I'm going to do some rounds starting from this little marker here until I get up to the appropriate turtle height, which I think is going to be 1.5 inches more, what have you. Or maybe I'll have some turtle time, who knows. But it's definitely not quite, or what is it? This is not tall enough yet for a little turtle. So it needs to be 4 inches tall, and I am 4.5 inches wide and 6.5 inches long, but not 4 inches tall yet. So it's more like 2.5, I think, something like that. I did find all of my turtle spikes. Yay! So these will be affixed like so. And so there really is only room for not too many of the turtle spikes, so as you can tell. So they're pretty big turtle spikes. I don't think that I could fit 4 on, but who knows? Maybe it works. It'll cover maybe the awkwardness. It seems plausible. We could just be like extra ridiculously spiky. They're all made, so it's not like it's the end of the world. And then I'll do the I cord again, I think. And we'll see how that looks. Hopefully it isn't too curl-tastic. I'll have to think deeply if it is curl-tastic. I wasn't planning on doing anything too special. It wasn't like I was going to be so sophisticated as to put it all in moss stitch or something like that. But maybe it would be smart to put the little turtle spikes to cover the sort of lumps and bumps I'm getting on this bad boy. Oh well. So this is out of Vanna's Choice in some green color, and then I'm also using it in a white color and Red Heart Soft in a brown. So it's coming along. So I managed to get it big enough, so now it's just getting it tall enough. So shouldn't be too crazy. And then a bottom. I don't know, whatever. I'll have to change my increase rate for that, I do believe, in order to make it work. So go forth and make it flat. Let's see. And then I have one more knitting project because I've just been crazy. And I'm still working on the socks. So a bit more progress here. So I am, I think, pretty close to being done with the heel flap on this guy. So I'm working double points until I can get back in the round again. I suppose I could measure. Oop, that was knitting needle stabbing me. So I have my most expensive tape measure in the world, of which the store employee felt bad and gave me a freebie. Alright, so we're at 2.5 inches. I don't even know what I did on the other sock. We can measure though. Oh! That also looks like 2.5. I'm trying to see if there's plausible deniability for 3/4, and it looks like 2.5. So, I'm done with the heel flap. I need to turn the heel. Hey! Not too shabby. Ball is getting a little bit more loose, so looking like I'm actually running through it now as opposed to before. And then my needles keep wanting to stab me in this bag. It's not quite rough and tough enough for keeping the zeros all contained, so I'll probably start turning it, get that going, and then probably actually move my marker to a place where it makes sense. Because it's not so important when you're working on the leg, you just sort of have to know where beginning of round is. But once you start working the decreases, then it's good to have a little bit more waypoints. So, and it's turning out nice. This light isn't catching any of the purples, but it is blues and greens and purples. And it's, I don't know, some of it gives me more of a green impression, some of it gives me a little bit more of a purple impression, and then very little of the gold is actually coming through with this lighting, so oh well. But it is coming along, so we get everything, yeah, we're good. We'll just make sure everything is properly lined up. Yeah, we're good. So I will need to turn the heel and then pick up around, and then I'll be gusseting. But gusseting is fun, so that shouldn't be too bad. So I'm betting this is going to be my next FO. Not sure if it's going to be next week, though. It definitely is nice mindless knitting. But whatever. So this is whatever the yarn is, my hand spun. It is the Enchantal Happy Husbat, and the pattern is my vanilla sock, which is called Just Ribbing. So I'm doing a 2x2 ribbing this time, because I like the way that looks. So, coming along, and that's why I keep the other sock with the first sock with the in-progress sock, so that I don't exceed the sock dimensions, because sometimes I don't even know. This one I must have been feeling a little bit lazy, because I think I generally do 2 3/4, but this one was 2 1/2 for the heel flap. Mysteries. Alright, so I have to get up for a little bit, but it's in sight, so it shouldn't be too bad. That was like a cool pop. So, I've finished some singles. So this is the combo draft of the Nest Yuletide, and, or sorry, the Nest Noel, and then the Nest Yuletide, as some crazy, ridiculous combination of things. And so what's interesting about it is it, mixing the blue with this like red, green, blue combination ended up really putting to the background the brown. Interestingly, the red still pops. The green is very subtle. And then other places where it just ends up being sort of a lighter color. So this is 2/3, a third of 1 4-ounce bump and a third of the other. Here are the full 2, whatever. This is the remaining 2/3, which will be spun into a single. I may break it up a little bit more than I have, but this has the blues and greens and browns in it. As the variegated bit, and then this one will be sort of variegated, and then I'm working on the solid ply right now of the combo spin. Oh, you escaped. So I showed you the fiber already, but here is the singles, and I got a big spinning session in and didn't move the hook, so I just sort of clomped it over. I'll probably be filled with regret later. But this is turning out to be fairly solid. The fiber is semi-solid, but it's spinning up that way. And here is the fiber. So it is, I'll show you the ball. So it has lighter and darker parts in it. So it's sort of hard to tell in the ridiculous blue light, but this is probably true blue. And this is one of the thirds. This is the other third, to make 2/3 to fill a bobbin. Fractions, whatever. It'll be 6/3 in the end. But, yeah, so I still have a decent way to go on this one. I actually, in my craze for knitting a hat, because I just wanted to finish something, I ended up just going to town on the hat instead of spinning like I would normally do while consuming the media. So, as such, I didn't end up getting as much spinning in as I think I would normally do in a week, but I did finish these singles. I didn't think I'd finish them last week. Probably. And then I just had a little bit extra of one of the plies, so it is all by itself for a little bit, but not too long. And I'm just very curious how this is going to turn out. And I think I want to split this one a little bit more, maybe in half or thirds, so that the colors don't line up, because I want it to be random, what things end up colliding together. So, and some of that is just the combo drafting itself, but I just want to make sure it gets nice and mixed. So this one, since it's semi-solid, I figured it didn't really matter if I subdivided it or not. I just needed to be mindful about spinning it about the same thickness, so not too bad. It's coming along. So, and this is Nest Fiber. It is the Superwash Merino Silk Blend, and what'd it be? And this is half of the yarn I'm making for a big sweater spin. The other half will just be the solid red. So, and in the appropriate jolly bag. So, yay, hey. So, I do love me some Nest. And it's still all over the floor. I haven't yet done the rejiggering and packing necessary in order to get everything back to where it belongs again on here. It's probably the case where I gave something a shelf and it didn't have a shelf before, so now I need to move that all around again. I don't know. Such is life. I'll have to figure something out. Like, this area right here could stand to have more things packed into it, so I'll have to figure something out. But I did get rid of a hand-spun skein, so that was cool. So, knitting with the hand-spun. So, what has not happened this week is I have not wound on for my Viajante project, because I think, what had happened? Oh, so I didn't end up doing knitting on Friday, so I snuck out of work a little bit early and then went back home and decided to wind on all of the things. And this was the first one I grabbed. And then after I wound it up and cast it on, then I was like, okay, 4 knitting projects is demented. For me. Maybe not for you. Maybe for you it's fine. But for me, demented. Silly. So I was like, I don't want to have a 5th project. That's just going to be bad. I need to finish something else. So, I did end up spending a lot of time working on this, and what was it? So Friday cast on, Sunday cast off, not too bad. Hats are quick, but so it passed, that feeling. If I had started winding up my 2-ounce skeins of Lovely, that was probably going to require slightly more thought, because I needed to mark out where my quarter points were, so that then when I decided to start striping them in, they were in the right spot, and that required my scale, which now is upstairs, so I could do it now, but, you know, like, the craziest past, you know what I mean? We're safe now again. As to, I don't know, it'll be interesting. Have to figure out how hard it will be to try to finish something else off. We'll see. but I probably do need to finish something before I start something new, so we'll make it work somehow. But I do want to start that project, it's just not yet. Now, I've been a total fail and have taken no pictures of my fingering projects for the A Mostly Fine Cow. So, I haven't even, like, hashtagged myself. But I can. It's doable. Maybe with this demented bright light of brightness, I can go forth and get some reasonable pictures of the socks and the shawl, and then sit down and do my calculations and all this other fun stuff. It's promising. But feel free to continue posting, even though I have been a photo fail. I'm glad to have had pictures. I think that was mostly because it amused me. It was very spontaneous. But, oh well. I take lots of fiber spinning pictures. I don't know. I guess I know that with my fiber pictures that the photos are going to be impacted by light no matter what, because I'm normally only spinning at home and in the evening. But, oh well. So, I think that's everything I want to talk about, but feel free to join in the cow. It will be running until the 31st of March, so tons of time still. And technically speaking, my socks don't even count because I started those too late, and depends on how, I don't know, based on, what would it be? And what I'll probably end up doing, FYI, is going through the threads and picking out of the chatter posts and not a finished object post. So, talk stuff up, because I think I'm going to go about it I'm going to go about giving the prize that way. So, indeed. So, like, talk about your projects and talk about other people's projects, because that's what's going to get you the credit. Let's see. The other thing is figuring out when I'm recording next. So today is the 5th. So it'd probably be the 11th or 12th, and I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be the 11th or 12th. Whatever. It's not like it's a big deal. Some of it just depends on whether or not I have company on Saturday, so, excuse me, that screws everything up. If there's someone over in the afternoon, then I can't record in the daylight, because some freak flags don't, I'm not flying it that high. So that should be, I'm not sure which way I'm gonna go. And I'll keep working on the lighting thing. It probably means that I need to find more yellow bulbs, I'm guessing, because this is super blue. But let me know what you think about the lighting, if it's too blue, or you'd prefer to be in the darkness. I don't know, I'm sort of dazzled. But this is definitely, it's harsh. Oh well. So I think that's everything. So with that, I hope you guys have a lovely week, and I look forward to talking to you guys next week. So take care, guys. Bye-bye.